What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Coding King here. Today I'm going to bring you another tutorial, and today we're going to be focusing on if and then statements. Now, if and then statements are going to be used a lot throughout your projects in Visual Studio. So let's start out and open up Visual Studio. Go to File, New Project, Visual Basic, Windows Forms Application, and let's rename our project. Let's just name it Tutorial 1. Click OK. You'll come to a screen looking like this. If you've watched my previous video, you'll know how generally to use Visual Studio. So this is our application, this is our toolbox, and this is our properties menu. So let's start out by setting a couple of properties. So select the form, go to the properties menu, and let's change the text of the form. Let's just name it Tutorial 1. Okay, go to start position and put it to center screen. Since we do not have an icon for this certain application, let's just set it to false. Let's set the maximize box property to false. So that will disable the user's action to maximize your form. Let's go on to form border style and set that to fixed single. This will not allow the user to resize the form in any way. Alright, now from here you can choose to change your background color. I'm just going to change it to a solid gray. Now in this step we're going to add a couple tools. So go ahead and click the button in the toolbox and select anywhere in your form. You can resize it and change the location of your button just by dragging it or selecting it once and resizing it by holding and dragging the little white boxes around the tool. Once you've resized it, go ahead and select it once and go to the properties menu, and let's change the text of this item, and let's just name it click. Whoops. Okay. Now we're going to add a text box. So let's just add that right here. Now if you'd like, you can resize your form. Whoops. See if I got my text box here. Okay, so now that you've got your form and application's physical settings ready, let's go into the coding. So go ahead and double click on your button. This will take you into the objects coding. Now let's take a quick look at what we have so far. It looks like we have button 1. Now button 1 is the name of our button on our form. And we can see that by selecting our button, going to the properties menu, and scrolling up to name. So the name of the object or tool is what it's going to be referred to as in the coding. So if we go back, it says button 1 underscore click. Now click is the event that we're under for the tool. So you can probably kind of understand that this is when you click the button 1, and button 1 being the button on our form. So when you click the button on our form, then whatever we put in will happen. Okay. So that's just the mini coding that shows up whenever you select a tool or item. Double click it. Okay, so this is where we're going to put in the magic. So we're just going to type in some if-then statements, and hopefully by the end of this tutorial you'll understand the basics of them. Now if we just left this blank, the button on our form would not do anything. So let's just type a simple thing. Let's just type first if, whoops, not an initialized component, if text box 1, and text box 1 is the name of the text box on our form, dot or period, that will give us a list of properties that correspond to text box 1. We're going to type text equal to, and then we're going to add quotes because we're being specific about what the text property of text box 1 it will be equal to. So just type Zach and quotes and type then. Press enter. Now let's take a look at what we have. So we have our if statement here and our condition in the middle. If text box 1 being the name of the text box on our form, dot text, text the property of text box 1. Text is the placeholder of text box 1, so like the text inside here, is equal to, quotations because we're being specific, Zach with a capital Z, so specifically that, then our statement will happen here. So if, like, we have our condition, so if the text in text box 1 is equal to Zach, then we'll put our statement. Type message box. Now message box is a function. It will pull up a message box saying whatever you have it within the parentheses. So let's start our parentheses. Now that we have the parentheses, we're starting the message, okay? And if we want the message to be specifically something we want, then we're going to add quotes just like here. We're going to say, hello, Zach, exclamation point. We're going to end those quotes and end the parentheses, ending the message of the message box. If you press enter one more time and type else if, this is going to start another if statement within our first if statement. So it's, as you can see here, it says it's introducing a new condition. So within our first one. So it's just like, it's instead of having to type in another if statement, this one's going to correspond to the one we already have. So if it helps you, just ignore this else, okay? So else if text box 1.text, the text inside of text box 1 being the text box on our form, is equal to quotes because we're being specific. We'll just type John. And the quotes, type then, and press enter. Type message box, start the parentheses, which is starting our message, and we want the message box to say something specific, so we're going to add those quotes. I'm going to say hello John. We're going to add an exclamation point in those quotes and in those parentheses, so we're ending the message. One more thing, press enter and type else. Now it's pretty much saying if these two conditions are not true, then everything else other than these two conditions not being true, then put whatever you want. So we'll just type message box parentheses to start our message, and let's type quote, or start a quote. We'll type hello and it's space. Now we're going to end the quote and do the and button. So this is excuse me. We're adding another string after this. Anytime we say and, we're converging. I don't know if that's even a word. I don't. My mind is messed up today, but we're merging two words or two strings together. So string number 1 being hello space and we're going to add our second string. Our second string is actually going to be the text inside of text box 1. So we're going to type text box 1 dot text in the parentheses, so we're ending the message. So let's take a quick overview of what we have here. So under the button 1 click event, so under the click event of button 1 again being the name of the button on our form, we have an if statement. If our condition being the text inside of text box 1 being equal to specifically Zach, then pull up a message box saying hello Zach. Else if the text inside of text box 1 is equal to John, then pull up a message box saying hello John. If those two statements aren't true, so other than that, pull up a message box saying hello and the text inside of text box 1. Okay? So end if right here, this will end our if then statement, no matter how many if statements we have within that one. So any else ifs, any else, you really just need one else and an if then statement because you're saying all the other stuff in this type of message, or not message but piece of coding. So I think you guys generally get it. Now let's just test it. Okay, so we're gonna do the start button. I'm actually gonna keep the coding open so we can take a look at it as we're reviewing our program we've created. So as you can see, we've set the properties to the form, the start position being center screen, maximize box being false, and form border style being fixed single, so we can't resize it. The name of our button is click, and if we were to just press it right now, as you can see, these two conditions aren't true because the text is not filled with Zach or John, so it's going to tell us to pull up a message box saying hello and whatever is in text box 1. And currently there's nothing in text box 1, so it's just saying hello. So if we were to type Bill, okay, click, it's going to say hello Bill. Alright, and that's just our else statement here, hello and whatever's in text box 1. Okay, so we don't even have to have a name in here. We could just type car, hello car. Okay, so let's type Zach. This is going to be our first condition, and it's going to say, it's going to check our statement and see if it's true. As you can see, that was awfully fast because that's the first thing we check, is to see if the text box contains the word Zach. And this statement was true, so it's going to pull up a message box saying Zach. Hello Zach. We're going to do the same thing with John, and we're going to click the click button, and again, awfully fast because it just ran through this statement because this statement was not true. So it checks to see if this statement's true, and yes it is. The text is equal to John, so the statement we have for that would be pull up a message box saying hello John. And as I just mentioned earlier, if those statements aren't true, then it's just going to pull up a message box saying hello and whatever's in the text box. So that's pretty much it for if and then statements in this tutorial. If you guys have any questions, it's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, or maybe I didn't make something clear, feel free to just message me below. Just make a comment. I'll get back with you as soon as I can and answer your question. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and have a nice day.